obviously this is the part I'm really excited about, right? So it's like you just kind of you were just ran your day to day, right? Which is crazy busy enough, which is accomplished enough so that people can say, you know what, Dr. Burgess is doing this thing, right? Husband, father, and look at where he's working, like he's good, right? But you say, you know what, that's not enough, right? And I love the docs who be like, you know what, that's cool, but I need to do more, right? So talk about kind of stepping out, right, outside of, you know, the normal, right, atmosphere that we may see our typical physician, and saying, you know what, I need to get online, I need to get on a podcast, I need to do more. Like, what was that mental process like? What kind of led you to this point here? And really, what are some of your goals coming out of it?
Sure. So one thing is, I represent, as an African-American male, I represent less than 2% of orthopedic surgeons, probably somewhere closer to 1.6 to 1.7% of orthopedic surgeons. So I feel that the fact that I'm sitting here as an orthopedic surgeon, it is my responsibility I'm through the door, I need to bring somebody with me. Now I have 5 to 10 minutes when I'm sitting down with a patient, maybe 15 minutes to treat the patient, to come up with a plan. And then I always like to try to see where they are, especially if I'm dealing with a young athlete or a high school student, to see what are your plans for life. But very small time to do that.
Okay.
So this podcast gives me the ability to have Dr. Pierre on to talk about mentoring, or have someone else on, another doctor, to talk about their career. So now when I meet someone, I say, hey, go to episode 30. If you want to be an anesthesiologist, you need to hear from Dr. Stephen Bradley, and you need to know that just because you mess up, or just because you're not perfect, it can still be done. Because if I can be an orthopedic surgeon with the struggles that I've had, anybody can do it. And I want people to truly believe that. So that's one main thing on my platform, is that I want people to, I try to work on mindset. I try to work on to help people grow their assets, and to give practical tips to help people achieve whatever level of success that they want. And that's different for everybody. Success is different for everybody, but everybody has the ability to achieve something, but many times you don't believe it. And like Les Brown would say, I'm here to show you what's possible.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So out of all of the options you could have had, right? You could have just did, blogging, right? You could have, just did videos, right? You could have been on like what was it about podcasting that said, you know what, like I like this avenue over here? What was it like about? Sure. And again, like, because obviously I have my selfish reasons why I feel like I just kind of ended up in podcasting. But I always like to hear my fellow podcasters what kind of said, you know what, I think podcast is the medium for me.
Yeah. So number one, blogging. I don't like writing, and I thought that this would be an efficient way. One thing is that when the start of the pandemic, 2020, I hosted a couple of 2 different sessions about COVID-19. And I did that out of necessity, because I kept looking around. I'm like, why are we not speaking out? Why are we begging? Why are we waiting on the state to tell us what we need to do, when we're healthcare providers and we know what we needed to do? And then you're knocking on certain doors. Hey, can we talk about this? Nah, we can't talk about that. Or, can we put out something to talk about protecting yourself, masking? No, not really, to really talk about that. So I was like, okay, I have a voice. Let me do it myself. And I hosted two different events. And from that, I said, okay, I can do this, because I already had thought about being a podcaster. And then I mentioned Dr. Nee Darko before. I went on the Leverage and Growth Accelerator Conference, and he was on day 1 of that course. And he talked about being a podcaster and being a doc outside the box. And for the first time I saw myself, I was like, he's a surgeon. In his show, he's talking like a regular person. And he's been doing this for 5 or 6 years. Let me reach out to him. So I reached out to him. I took his course, and 10 weeks later, I launched my podcast, which is now on Father's Day of last year. So today is 10 months old. So I found my voice, and I found the ability to produce and make this product come about by, seeing someone else. So mentorship once again.
You know, first of all, again, obviously shout out to our friend of the show, Dr. Darko, man, because it is one of those things, especially in the median of podcasting, right? Mm-hmm. And I talked about it, especially when I started a journey. Like, what can I do to kind of talk to people outside of my clinic, right? Like, that was my mindset. Like, yeah, I got you in my clinic. I could talk a good game in my clinic. I could educate you, do what I need to do, but I can't reach so-and-so down the street, right? I can't reach so-and-so in the next block, right? In the next county, in the next state, right? In the next country. I couldn't reach them. And I said, what is going to be the best way to do it? And like, again, I just kind of lucked up. And someone stopped me and said, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing, because at the time I was doing videos, but could you put it in an audio format? And obviously, like, the rest is history. And again, shout out to Dr. Darko, because like, listen to his podcast again, just kind of, and I just heard, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, this guy, again, I told myself, because again, as a physician, we kind of do this where like, sometimes we need to see a barrier broken to realize that we can kind of go in that direction.